What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So I have an exercise for you skinny guys out there that is going to completely transform your body.
Are you talking about skinny Jesse?
God almighty.
Remember me circa 2016?
You put that down, please. Yes, I remember. You can show what not skinny Jesse looks like. All right, so what we're talking about is an exercise that Jesse himself used as one of the exercises that really built up his base to help build out his frame. It can fix not just your frame and your size, but also your posture.
Oh, you mean posture like this?
Oh God, that's so ugly, Jesse.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. It could do all the above. What we're talking about is a carry, and specifically how to do it right, the right way to program it, the different variations that are best for you and your body. We're gonna cover it all here today. And it starts with one of the biggest reasons of why this works so well, particularly for skinny guys, because it accommodates your body to handling heavier weights on the system without particularly loading the system, like let's say the squat. Because starting out in the squat was pretty difficult for you.
Oh yeah, I had no shelf and it was just on my bony scapula.
Right, we hear about resting the bar on a shelf, but if there's no shelf and only bone, it's actually quite uncomfortable. Another reason why your deadlift actually rose faster than your squat, because you didn't have to have those same loads. So what this does is it accommodates your body to handling heavier loads. And you could do this in a progressive manner. We'll talk about how to load this specifically later. But as you're holding on to more of the weight in the carry, you're starting to feel more of that stress and stretch on the traps, in your hands, on your forearms, on your grip. Notably, actually, your grip will improve to allow you to do what with those rows?
Handle heavier
Right,
weight.
handle heavier weight
too.
So it starts to feed into even the basic programming. The next huge benefit for me as a physical therapist is that this exercise helps to correct really bad posture.
So
really bad posture.
Should I pick up the...
No. We don't have to see that again. But we do know how far Jesse came with his posture, as you saw in the beginning. A lot of it had to do with doing exercises like the carry that reinforce proper posture. So how is that? Because you have to have good thoracic extension. You have to have shoulder back positioning. You have to be able to do that under load, because when you pick up a weight, you don't want all the weights to be able to pull you down.
Yeah.
What skinny guys oftentimes do is, again, lacking muscle mass, they don't have postural stability. They're more likely to succumb to the force of gravity. When they decide to do something about their lack of muscularity, they do what exercises?
Pushing exercise.
Anterior, anything from the front. Believe me, they're not thinking about doing rows.
Yeah.
So what happens is it only further contributes to that poor posture. This exercise, again, I'll break down how to do it specifically, will do exactly what you need to do to start reversing that forward tilt of your shoulders. The third big benefit to carries is that you can actually work them in as a great conditioning option. And it can replace some of the things that you used to do a lot more often.
Running.
Like long distance running, which is not really one of those big muscle builders, as any marathon runner could tell you, but there are alternative ways to condition your body, and they're both important. We're talking about strength and conditioning for a reason. So the carry allows you to get your heart rate up after just even a few rounds, and it gives you an option that you could do on each workout day at the end, or you could do on a conditioning day or as part of an entire conditioning day if you were to do this for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And even on an off day, because the stress here is pretty localized, it doesn't carry over from workout to workout. And fourth, when it comes to the specific stress that the carry applies that leads to this muscle growth, it is in the form of some of the stretch that we get on the traps, on those upper back, mid back muscles when you do the exercise. However, it is not the same as another exercise that you used to use that did the same type of stretch.
The rack pull.
Like a rack pull. Now we know that the rack pull can do the same thing, but from a much different position, which can lead to other issues like thoracic outlet syndrome.
Yep, which is something I had symptoms of from doing so many rack
Too
pulls.
much compression anteriorly when you hold that weight out in front. We'll get to that in a second. But again, all exercises are not created equal just because they may look like you're carrying weight. This one's a very specific exercise that involves carrying weight, and it applies it in a way that leads to the muscle gains we're looking for without any of the unnecessary stresses, especially on that frail, skinny body that you might have had in the beginning. So how do you do this right? And I mean exactly right. The first thing is the pickup. You do not want to set the dumbbells up in front of your body and pick them up from there like a deadlift. Instead, put the dumbbells on the side of your body. And when you pick the dumbbells up, you're putting yourself in the right position with your shoulders more easily held back because of that. The next thing is going to be the shoulders themselves as you fatigue. But fatigue here is going to show up as those shoulders start to drift and the dumbbells start to drift out in front of your body. If you see that happening, it should be your instant reminder that you're not doing this with the right neuromuscular control over those backside muscles. Again, you're allowing the front side to dominate. Pull back and get those shoulder blades retracted, which leads us to the third point. It's not just about retracting your shoulder blades, because I've seen this posture a lot too.
As have I.
Head forward, shoulder blades pinched, but nothing happening with the most important bone in your body when you're doing this exercise, and that's your sternum. If you can take your sternum and lift it, right? Try to think about taking this bone in your body right here in your chest and lift it as high as you can. That's going to restore thoracic extension and then allow for the retraction of the shoulder blades. That's going to put your body in the right position. The fourth thing actually comes in terms of the pacing of the exercise. Far too often people want to go for a long distance and they do choppy steps. They're ugly, unstable steps. Your carry should look really, really smooth.
And deliberate.
And deliberate. Each step should be done with stability. So I want you to take slower, more deliberate steps. If you do that, you're requiring more time in single leg stance, which is applying more benefit to the exercise. Because as we put one leg up to take the next step, that opposite hip is having to hold your body level. That glute medius is really working hard. If I take short, choppy steps, I'm removing that requirement and one of the major benefits of the exercise.
Yeah, and as we know, stronger glute medius and stronger hips will prevent back pain.
Right, so all this stuff starts to feed into one gigantic reason why this exercise is really, really important. The last thing would be if you're finding yourself drifting a lot or if the legs start crossing up, then you want to deliberately contract your glutes. Consciously contract your glutes. Remember, your posterior chain is not just from your waist up, but it's from the waist down too. Squeeze your glutes before you initiate the exercise, right after you pick the dumbbells up, and maintain that contraction with every step, and you'll find more stability throughout the entire duration of the exercise. Now, the fun part about the carry is it's actually quite versatile, and there's a lot of variations that I alluded to earlier, each one with a separate benefit that you might want to consider. The first is something we call a gun carry. And here, you're shifting the load, yes, heavily to the arms, really the forearms and the brachialis, as you have to hold them in this isometric 90-degree position.
And you're going to have to use a lot less weight.
You use a lot less weight. Again, it's still challenging your grip in a way, not as much as it is with the dumbbells at your side, but there's a lot of things going on here, shoulder stability, shoulder girdle stability, but it's just a different way to do the carry, again, with different benefits. And I think skinny guys probably want to build up their arms too.
Yep.
Jesse. The next thing we could talk about, though, is variations of that carry, and instead of carrying them both down at your sides, we have a one up, one down carry. Right away, as soon as you put any arm up over your head, the requirements of thoracic extension and mobility go up substantially.
Yeah.
So if you don't have good thoracic mobility, you're going to find this to be very, very difficult, especially those poor postured beginners who started out. And you'll definitely feel the core working a little bit more here too to maintain that. You could certainly take this up another level by literally raising one more dumbbell up overhead. Now this double overhead carry, again, working the same things we just talked about, but even more so, more thoracic mobility into extension, more stability of the core. But again, it's a great variation of the exercise. It's one worth doing as you're able to. Then we can go kind of back to the beginning. Like, where could true beginners start? If they can't even handle heavier dumbbells, they could just start with plates.
Yeah.
Like you.
That's what I did. That's how one of the reasons I built grip strength was doing pinch plate carries.
Right, because it's not just all about grip in terms of forearm strength, but grip in terms of intrinsic finger strength. So having to pinch the plates and walk with them, even 5-pounders, can be quite a challenge. You can work from 5s to 10s to 25s up to 45s. And then on the opposite side of that, when you start to be able to handle more and more weight and you sort of exceed your dumbbell carrying capacity, that's where something like a trap bar works.
Yes.
So now as far as programming goes, how would you program this? There's a lot of different ways for you to do this. Number one, you can measure in steps. You can measure in distance, you can measure in time. Those are three main ways to do this. Now for me, I like to go steps because even if I don't have a place that I can walk for a long distance, I could just count the steps.
Yeah, and if you don't have a lot of space, you can just go the distance and then turn around and then come right back.
The turnaround is a factor. For those wondering, when you do have to do the turn, it requires a portion of that to be single leg stance when you make the turn. They're a little bit more challenging when you incorporate turns into it. When it comes to steps, I'd say 15 to 30 steps per set is a good place for beginners to start. That'd be somewhere around, let's say, 15 to 30 yards, roughly, depending upon how long of a step you have. For time, 30 seconds is a good place to start. Work up to 60 seconds and do this for multiple sets. 4 minutes in a day is plenty of work on this if you're going to do this in an everyday fashion. So now, how much weight and what are we talking about here? Well, first of all, we take these sets to failure. As with most other things in the gym, you want to ensure that you went hard enough and long enough to create change. So for me, failure is always measured in grip strength loss. The ability to hold onto the dumbbells is really your main criteria. How much weight do you use? Well, we always recommend starting with, again, either the plates like you did, right, in those 5s, 10s, and 25s, but once you start to use dumbbell weight, 25% of your body weight in each hand is where we recommend starting. So if you're 160 pounds, you're talking about 40 pounds in each hand. And you work yourself up to 50% in each hand.
Yeah.
And you could go to those higher levels up to even 75% of your body weight in each hand, or combined 150% of your body weight if you're doing it on the trap bar. If you want to transform that skinny body, this is the exercise.
Skinny body like this? I mean, come on, I was cute and adorable.
It wasn't cute.
Just out of college. Come
No,
on.